Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our daily word. This morning, it is Tuesday of this first week in the month of October. You can join me for our time together as we continue our conversation through our daily word and how it, how it speaks to us. And so we continue our journey this morning in our time together. And I've chosen for this morning um, from the book of Galatians, chapter 5, verses 22 through 23. And I chose this because, we have, I've been talking about this a little bit from time to time, but we have in our culture um, this 24-hour, 7-day a week news cycle. And so we like to think that we are pretty informed, that we know what we know, that we know what we know, and that we can speak on lots of subjects because, well, maybe because the information comes across our phone or our TV screen or our computer screen. We know what we know that we know, and we base all of our knowledge on that. And so I got to thinking about how it is that we know what we know when it comes to Scripture, when it comes to living the life that God has called us to, when it comes to interacting with each other. And so this particular text really talks to us about knowing something. And it's interesting. Hear this. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us. And we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. This, it says, is how we know what love is. And so we have in our minds, in our hearts, and in the knowledge that we have, this idea of knowing what we know. Now, I know some folks know a lot more about other things than I do. When it comes to building or engineering or math or all these kinds of things, people I know have a ton more knowledge about many, many, many things than I do. But we all have this idea of how we're called to live, I think, and what it is that God's calling us to. But this text reminds us that this is how we know what love is. Jesus laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. So, we strive for all kinds of things in our society. We strive to be first. I interacted with a pastor yesterday. We used to be really good friends until he and his wife moved to Pennsylvania. And I saw a picture of him yesterday. And he's a big guy who's lost a ton of weight. And I said, boy, you're looking really good. He said, 75 down, 100 to go. That's a big goal, right? 75 is a lot, but 100 to go, meaning pounds, that's a long way, right? We strive for all of these things in our lives. We strive for weight loss, we strive for healing, we strive for abundance, we strive to climb corporate ladders, on and on and on and on what we strive for. But I wonder for us, as we live our lives, and if we would consider what this text really means to us as we live, that we know what love is. Here's how we know. We know what love is not because we have some butterfly feelings in our bellies, that we know what love is because, well, we just think we know. But we know what love is when we understand that Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, but then that we lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. Now, I think that can mean for us lots of things. It doesn't necessarily mean that I have to die for you, but to lay down our lives for each other, for our brothers and sisters, to lay down our lives, to give what we have for the benefit of another person, to take what we have deep inside of us. And maybe for us it is knowledge. The knowledge that we have, that if we take that knowledge that we have about all kinds of things and use it to make the world a better place, to enhance the lives of brothers and sisters, that's how we'll know what love is. When we make a difference in the world, when we share what we have with others, then we know what love is. When we help each other along the way, when we help each other build a bridge, if you will, when we help each other sustain life in all that we have, that's when we know that we know what love is. And so I wonder for us, excuse me, when we live our lives, as this scripture comes to us, as we live our daily lives, and as we function in a society that's dominated by social media, that's dominated by news, that's dominated by all the things in our world, if we were to look deep inside of us, deep inside of myself, deep inside of yourself, and ask ourselves the question, how do I know what love is? Do I know it because of how I act and react to those around me? And the other side of the question that's always important to me, how would somebody else know if they look at me? How would they know that I know, that they know that I know what love is? Are my actions and reactions, are my thoughts and my words, my social media posts, my actions wherever I go, are they reflective of what I know, that I think that I know? That this is how we know what love is, that I would lay down, that I would make the world a better place for my brothers and sisters by taking what I know and what I have and living it to benefit the lives of other people. That's what the writer Paul, the church in Galatia, who writes to us in this text, is so important to us. This is how we know. And it's far from striving, it's far from having an agenda, it's far from climbing the corporate ladder, it's far from having all the right words to say, it's far from doing the best job we've ever done. The measuring stick, if you will, this is how we know what love is, that we give of ourselves for our brothers and sisters. So Jesus laid down his life for us. We already know that. It's already happened for us. It's innate. We know it, right? To know what love is to know that, and it's part of who we are as Christian. But then to give of ourselves, our lives for our brothers and sisters. And to me, that's what the fruit of the Spirit is about, and that's how God works in us, and that's really what God is calling us to do and to be in these days, in our world, in these difficult days that we're living in. I'm just convinced, that that's how we're called to live. And if we were to do that, if we were to look inside of ourselves and say, yep, that's how I know what love is, someone did it for me. And I have millions of examples, millions maybe a stretch, but examples after example after example of people who've given themselves for me. And I want to be an example for someone that I've given myself for them, that their life can be better because of me. And I think, to me it's so critical that we live like that and that we reorient our focus on knowing what love is. And so that's the word that's important for me today as I think about this fruit of the Spirit and what it means for us. I hope it speaks to you. I hope that in our lives together we'll know what love is, and that our love will be an extension of Jesus laying down his life for us, that we would then give our lives to benefit and help and encourage and lift up our brothers and our sisters and those we encounter in our lives. So that's our word for today. Hope it's a good word for you as it speaks to me in this day. Thanks for joining me this morning. Know of God's love this beautiful fall Tuesday morning. Know of God's grace and mercy in your lives, and know of my love for you. And I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Have a great day.